It's time again for the Science Bowl.
Zoo Parade for 5. What big teeth the hippo has are actually a pair of these. Science Potpourri for 10. Would a snake most likely eat every day? Every week, Dateline Science for 10. Why are some elephants wearing necklaces these days? Green things for 15.
And now, here's your host, Mr. Z himself, Dave Zarin.
Thank you and welcome to the Science Bowl. We're almost there. We started the year with 40 elementary schools. We're down to the final 4. One of the 2 you're about to meet is going to go on to play for this year's Science Bowl championship. Play along with us and see if you can keep up. Let's meet today's teams. First, from Robert Goddard Montessori, would you please say hello to Braden Kefferleek, Mason Vosmek, and Nathaniel Parker Feng. And from Rogers Heights Elementary, here they are. Say hello, please, to David Menendez, Shri Rutala, and Juan Hernandez. And now here are the categories of questions we use on the Science Bowl.
Here's today's categories. Green Things, questions about plants and all things green and growing. Zoo Parade, a Noah's Ark of questions about animals. Body Systems, we'll see how much you know about yourself, about things like breathing and growing and digesting your food. Let's Get Physical, questions that test your knowledge of physics and chemistry, earth science and space science. Then there's Science Potpourri. Here's a grab bag of science questions, everything from air pollution to the kitchen sink. And finally, Dateline Science. We'll ask you about science history and science in the news.
And here on the Science Bowl, we arrange our game board according to question difficulty, with the easier questions on the left worth 5 and 10 points, the tougher ones worth 15, 20, and ultimately 25, the toughest of them all. Both of our teams start out at 50 points, no penalties ever for incorrect answers. At the end of the 2 rounds today, one of these 2 wonderful teams is going to come back to play for the county championship. Let's go over and make sure everything is working properly before we start. Let's go to the Robert Goddard team. And Mason, would you give that buzzer a push for us? Thank you, young man. Good luck to you, to Nathan, and to Braden. And Shri, would you do the honors for the green team? A-OK over there as well. And good luck to you and to Juan and to David. And guys, I just want to say congratulations. You guys are the best of the best. And I know you've been waiting a long time for this day. And no matter what happens today, you guys are winners. And everybody out there is cheering for you. We go alphabetically here on the Science Bowl. So R-O-B is before R-O-G. So Robert Goddard, let's play the bowl.
Zoo Parade for 15.
Zoo Parade for 15 points. We're starting out with a visual question. Would you look, please, at the monitor in the studio? And this ivory-billed woodpecker has been long thought to be extinct. It used to live in America's South, and we think the reason it disappeared is because it lost the area where it was best adapted. What H initial term describes that area, Rogers Heights?
Habitat?
Yes, loss of habitat, oftentimes indicted as the reason why animals go extinct. Good start. Go green.
Let's Get Physical for 20.
Let's get physical for 20 points. Teams, your question is as follows. It's a multiple choice question. Teams, on the periodic table of elements, there is a metal that has a melting point of 85 degrees Fahrenheit, which means, like M&M candies, it will melt in your mouth and in your hand. Which of these 3 is, okay, I was going to give you choices. You may not need them.
I'm going to pass to David.
Gallium?
It is indeed gallium. I was going to say gallium, galactose, or galatea. That was the only element on the list. David, super job. Go.
Green Things for 15.
Green Things, 15 points. Teams, the plant that is like the canary in the coal mine, it monitors the environment and the pollutants in it, is this plant that is a combination of a fungus and an algae together in a symbiotic relationship. Name that plant. What you think, Robert Goddard?
Pass
Come on,
to
guys.
Braden.
Come on, Braden.
Moss?
Not quite. Good try. Rogers Heights, name that plant that is a combination of a fungus and an algae that is a good biomonitor. Braden was close. It's called a lichen, L-I-C-H-E-N. Some people call it lichen, but it is lichen. Nice try, Braden. Go green.
Body Systems for 15.
Body Systems for 15 points. Teams, when an emergency crew finds a person that is passed out and not breathing, the number one reason that their airway is blocked is because of this fleshy muscular organ. Robert Goddard.
The tongue?
The tongue, yeah. They've swallowed their tongue. Good answer. Go. Red.
Zoo parade for 5.
Zoo parade for 5 points. Teams, a lot of times people think this is kind of a cute saying. It invokes two big reptiles. See you later, alligator. After a while, Rogers Heights.
Crocodile.
Crocodile, yeah. But don't you go anywhere. Go. Good answer. Go green.
Science potpourri for 20.
Potpourri for 20 points. Teams, what P initialed word describes all of the feathers found on a bird? Robert Goddard.
Plumage.
Plumage, yes sir. Good answer. 20 points. Go.
Science potpourri for 5.
Potpourri for 5 points. Teams, water is amorphic. A-M-O-R-P-H-I-C. So, despite what the title of this year's Best Picture was at the Academy Awards, this of water, yes?
Shape.
The shape, yeah, water has no shape. Absolutely right. It is amorphic. Go red.
Let's get physical for 10 points.
Again, please.
Let's get physical for 10 points.
Let's get physical for 10. Teams, because lithium-ion batteries are problematic, we hear that they're bursting into flame, they're developing a new battery that is based on water, and its name has the same name as this positive subatomic particle. Rogers Heights.
Proton.
The proton battery. Yes, indeed. Thank you, Juan, for your help. Go green.
Body systems for 20.
20 points in body system. Teams, if someone goes into a hospital for a pneumectomy, P-N-E-U-M-E-C-T-O-M-Y, they're going to have part of what organ removed, Rogers?
Lung?
What's that?
Lung.
The lung, absolutely. That new P-N-E-U, good prefix there, indicating lung. Good playing. Go green.
Science potpourri for 15.
Potpourri for 15 points. Teams, the lip on this toy creates a stabilizing turbulence that keeps it flying horizontally. Rogers Heights.
Frisbee. Frisbee?
A frisbee, absolutely right. Only if you throw it the right way. Go green.
Zoo parade for 20.
Zoo parade, 20 points. Question is as follows. On the National Geographic Channel, Dr. Paul, the great veterinarian, was seen recently with his hand inside the abomasum of a cow. The abomasum is one of 4 parts. Rogers Heights?
Stomach.
Stomach. 4-part stomach in that cow. He eats all that grass. He keeps bringing it back up and chewing it. It's tough to digest, and that's what he's got. All right, score update. 155 Rogers Heights, 90 for Goddard. Shri, advantage you. Oh, hold that thought. That buzzer says we've come to the end of the first round of this semifinal matchup, and we'll be back with more Science Bowl in just a moment. Don't go away. And welcome back to Science Bowl. As we were saying at the top of the show, it has been a long season. We have 4 semifinalists. 2 are playing our game today. 2 more are coming up in a subsequent game. And of our 4 semifinalists, only one, Capitol Heights, has ever been county champ. That was way back in 1990. We're in our 33rd year now. So it is going to be an interesting end of the season here. Let's go over and find out about our players. But before we do that, just for making it to this level, to the semifinals, we have something for every one of our players. The Audubon Field Guides, treasured science books for students across the ages. Each one of our players, including the alternates, will take one of these home in a field of their choice, be it birds, mammals, reptiles, the planets, fossils, butterflies. It is our way of saying what a tremendous pride we have in them for what they've done. They are academic superstars. And the winning team is going to be taking home a plaque for their school, which we will have engraved with the school name, and each player takes home a plaque as a memory of their time here on Science Bowl. And you know, it's always good to remember that Science Bowl is middle school and elementary students, and some of our students as young as 3rd and 4th grade. So this is tough being on this. There's a lot of pressure, and it's an emotional time, and but we always get through it. Let's meet our players. Let's go first to Robert Goddard. And Mason, start us out. Tell us about your school. You guys, where is your school located?
It's in Greenbelt.
Yeah, and who's your principal?
Miss Womack.
I know, and she's out there, and she's really, really behind you guys. And who is the sponsor of your team? What teacher?
Miss Jellison.
Miss Jellison, and she helps us out too. She comes and she acts as a judge, and we appreciate all that Lisa has done for us over the years. And I know you have a couple alternates. I think is Ella out there? Is that one of your alternates?
Yeah, Ella's there.
And who's the other one?
Grayson, but he's having surgery today.
Oh no. Well, Grayson, if you're watching this, we wish you well. We're missing you here today. And I always like to ask, Mason, something special about your school. What do you really like about Robert Goddard?
Probably all the extracurricular activities that you can do there.
Yeah, because I know Science Bowl is one, but what other things can you do?
There's like soccer and Destination Imagination and art club and basketball.
That's a lot. That's a lot. And yet you keep all your grades up because you wouldn't be here unless you were outstanding students. You're here as ambassadors for your school. And Mason, what do you want to do someday?
I want to be a paleo artist.
Yeah. So into the dinosaurs and that's great. You're a good player. What grade you in?
5th grade.
5th grade. So you can play this game for quite a while yet. We take you up through 8th grade. So we're going to count on seeing you for a long time. Nathan, tell us about yourself. Tell us what you do in your spare time.
I play video games. I play with my dog. I watch TV.
Yeah, good. Well, you've won already a couple times on here. How do you prepare for the Science Bowl? Yeah.
Well, I go to the club and watch a bunch of videos about it and study our opponents. Honestly, I could not find anything about Rogers Heights, though.
Okay, all right. Tell me what you want to do someday.
I want to become rich and build a giant death laser.
I love it. The rich part, that's the American dream, and the death laser. Okay, a good kid dream. Braden, what about you? Are you going to destroy civilization, or what are you going to do?
I'm good. I don't want to destroy civilization.
If they harm blobfish, different story.
Yeah. What do you do in your spare time, Braden?
I draw, I play video games, I help my dad out with projects and stuff.
Yeah.
I read.
Good.
Play with my dog.
We love having you here. Now, you've got a dog. Nathan, you've got a dog. Mason, do you have a dog?
Yes, I do.
Ah, who has the biggest dog?
Me.
Ah, what kind you got?
She's a shepherd mix.
Whoa. Big, yeah.
Mine's a Chihuahua.
What's the dog's name?
Freya.
Wonderful. Watch TV? He's going to watch you? Does he recognize you on TV? I wonder.
Well, actually, dogs can't really see TV because their eyesight is different from us.
Exactly right.
Yeah,
We'd
but
like for them to watch us.
And their vision.
All right. Rogers Heights, nice to have you guys here. Sheree, tell us about yourself. Before we do, where is Rogers Heights?
Bladensburg.
Bladensburg, yeah. Wonderful school up there. And who's your principal?
Our principal is Dr. Bottoms.
Absolutely. And I know she's here today, and she's going to be rooting you on. And who's the sponsor of your team?
Mr. Pippin.
Yeah. And he does an awful lot of work with you guys to get you ready, and that work is showing here today. Tell me something special about your school.
Well, something special about our school is that we have makerspace and arts integration, and we also have after-school activities like basketball, soccer, and flag football and volleyball.
Wow. So either one of these schools, if you end up there, you're in a good place. Tell me any alternates you have.
Well, the alternates that are here are Kennedy, Howard, Jorge, and Senegat, and Aria.
Wonderful. All right. Thanks for mentioning their names. And what do you want to do when you get older?
Well, what I want to do when I get older is become an aerospace engineer.
Wonderful. You have a great discipline about yourself, just like Mason does, and I can see why you guys are the captains because you're holding it all together. Juan, tell us the Juan story. Now, you talked about being a doctor, but you said something else too.
Yeah, a medical terminologist.
Okay, medical terminologist. So how'd you get interested in that?
Well, Mr. Pippin, one day he started talking about medical terminology, and then when he talked about it, I got so interested. So I got interested in it. Because how could you be a cardiologist when you don't know your medical terminology?
Isn't that the truth? I like that observation because medicine is a language unto itself. It's like a foreign language, and you're going to be good at that.
Yeah.
David, you've come up with some great answers. How do you know so much about science?
When I was little, I used to read books about science instead of reading normal books like.
Do you want to go into science when you get older?
Yeah, I wanted to be an engineer.
Wonderful. Yeah, you knew gallium right away. That's a great parlor trick. People make spoons out of gallium, and then when they stir their coffee or their hot chocolate, the spoon disappears. And you think, oh my gosh, what happened to that spoon? So gallium's kind of neat stuff. All right, guys, you ready to do this again? Let's do it. All right, 90 to 155, lots of points to give away, and we go back to the green team. Let's go, Shri.
Green things for 20.
Green things for 20 points. Teams, there is a new insect that has invaded Maryland called the spotted lanternfly. It's a pest. And it takes its proboscis, it sticks it into a plant, and it sucks out the sugars that are flowing down in these tubes. Down in these tubes.
Xylem and phloem.
I need a specific answer.
Xylem.
No, sir. Robert Goddard, the proboscis of this spotted lanternfly is inserted into a plant, into the tissue that brings sugar and other nutrients down the plant.
Pass to Braden. Phloem.
Phloem. All right. You got that one as a default. Let's earn them. Go. Okay, you choose. Mason?
Let's get physical for 15.
Let's get physical for 15 points. Teams, you know, if you've never seen the Winter Olympics and someone told you about curling, you would say, that can't happen. That's science fiction. But when you see it and you see that it's real and you see how it's played, you say, it's not science fiction, it's science what, Robert Goddard?
Fact.
No, not quite. Instead of science fiction, after you see how it's played, you might say it is science what?
Science nonfiction?
Wait.
Friction. Science friction. Oh, Mr. Z, that's not fair. That's pun. I had a little fun with you. There. You can laugh. Okay, go Red. Go Mason.
Science potpourri for 10.
Potpourri for 10 points. All right, teams, if you know the movie The Black Panther, it takes place in a kingdom called Wakanda, and vibranium is this metal that came down to Earth inside one of these bits of... Robert Goddard?
Meteorite.
Meteorite, absolutely right. It was inside the meteorite. Go, Red.
Dateline science for 15.
Dateline for 15 points. We know that Stephen J. Hawking died recently, and he was buried in Westminster Cathedral in London, right next to the grave of this man who is the father of modern physics. His grave is right next to whose grave? Rogers Heights.
Isaac Newton?
It is indeed Isaac Newton. Well done. Go, Green.
Daylight science for 20.
Dateline for 20 points. Teams, this famed American statesman and inventor hated taking cold showers. He hated water. He would get clean by taking an air bath. Mason?
Benjamin Franklin.
Benjamin Franklin, yeah, and his fear of water probably was connected to the fact that water conducts electricity real well, and he knew all about electricity and kites. Okay, Red, 140, 170, go Mason.
Zoo parade for 10.
Zoo parade for 10 points. Teams, the National Zoo recently sadly announced that Clark had died. Clark was one of these rodents, third largest after capybara and beaver. His name means quill pig. Rogers Heights. Clark was a what?
Porcupine?
He was a porcupine, indeed he was. Good, thank you, Juan. Go Green.
Let's get physical for 25.
For 25 in that category. Teams, if you study this branch of science, you are studying the branch that Sheldon Cooper on The Big Bang Theory called the dirt people. Rogers Heights.
Geologists?
Yeah, the geologists, people who study rocks and plate tectonics. Good. Green.
Body systems for 25.
Body systems for 25 points. Teams, when someone is badly cut and they are hemorrhaging and bleeding profusely, an EMT or a common person like us can stop that bleeding by applying one of these. Robert Goddard?
A bandage?
Not a bandage. Rogers Heights? To stop profusive bleeding. Could apply one of these.
An ice pack?
Not an ice pack. It's called a tourniquet. You tie something around, you make it tight, and it stops the blood from flowing. Okay, go again, Green.
Green things for 25.
Green things for 25 points. All right, teams. We talk a lot about photosynthesis on this program. I would not ask you before, and I'm not asking you today to spell photosynthesis, but I'm going to tell you that one of every 2 breaths you take is provided by a diatom. A diatom is a kind of phytoplankton. Spell phytoplankton for me for 25 points. Phytoplankton. Goddard, talk among yourselves. Nathan, be ready to go in case I come to you. All right, who's going to be my speller?
David.
David. All right, David. David said, well, I didn't know I was going to do it. I want you to spell Phytoplankton. I want you to say the word for me.
Phytoplankton.
One more time.
Phytoplankton.
Yes, sir.
Phytoplankton.
You got it. 25 points. Well done, green team. Thank you, David. Go.
Science potpourri for 25.
Potpourri for 25 points is a visual question. Everybody look at the monitor in the studio, please. This woman, Amelia Earhart, back in 1937, took off in an airplane and she never came back. She crashed somewhere in the Pacific. And ever since, we've been trying to find remnants of her body. We don't know where it is, but recently, they think they might have found a part of her skeleton because they found this upper arm bone. Name it, Rogers Heights.
The humerus?
The humerus, absolutely right. They think it matches because they compared it to a picture. Good, green, go.
Zooparade for 25.
Zooparade for 25 points. All right, teams. We know that frogs can breathe using their lungs, but they can also breathe Mason.
Gills?
Not gills, not gills. Frogs can also breathe cutaneously, which is how?
Which means... No,
What you got? Answer, please. They breathe through their skin. Through their skin. Cutaneous means skin. Go again. Green. We have a few questions left. Where to?
Dateline science for 25.
Dateline science for 25 points. Teams, Napoleon, the great French emperor, was the one who asked this man, a French scientist, to come up with a process for making sure that the bacteria in wine could be killed because it had been spoiling. Name that scientist, Rogers Heights.
Louis Pasteur?
You got that right, Louis Pasteur. We normally associate him with milk, but he also learned how to pasteurize wine, which made the emperor very happy. Okay, go.
Green things for 10.
Green things for 10 points. If you read fairy tales or literature, you know that this green thing is often preceded by adjectives like enchanted, Sherwood, forest, or the Black Forest. That's it. Good. Go.
Body systems for 10.
Body assistance for 10 points. Teams, there is a new TV show called Choo Choo TV that comes from India, where all the nursery rhymes have happy endings. So when Jack and Jill went up the hill to fetch a pail of water, when Jack came down and fell, he didn't break his crown. Rogers Heights?
His head?
More specifically?
His cranium?
Not his cranium. Robert Goddard, when Jack fell down and broke his crown, what bone did he break? What you got, Nathan?
His temple.
Not his temple, his skull. His skull is what we were looking for. Go again, green.
Yeah.
Dateline science for 10.
Dateline for 10 points. Seems it was back in 1841 that a British paleontologist came up with this word that means fearfully great lizard. Goddard.
Dinosaur.
Nah, you're my paleontologist. I knew you'd know that one. Okay, Mason, where next?
Body systems for 5.
Body systems for 5 points. You know, doctors now say that if you do this, your stress goes down, even pain goes away, which is why the Beatles chose as the title of their song, I Want to Hold Your What?
Hand.
Rogers Heights?
Hand.
I want to hold your hand. Yeah, it takes me back. Go red or green.
Let's get physical for 5.
Let's get physical for 5 points. Hey, diddle diddle, the cat and the fiddle. The cow jumped over this celestial object.
Moon.
The moon. He jumped over the moon. The little dog laughed to see such a sight. All right. We almost used up all those questions. We'll double check that score with the judges and we'll be back with you in just a moment. Don't go away. Welcome back to Science Ball. Hope you were playing along today. Emotions were high, but so was talent. We couldn't be more proud of these two teams. Our final tally today is Robert Goddard 150, Rogers Heights 300. So Rogers Heights, you are going on to the championship game. Let's give them a round of applause. David and Shri and Juan, Mr. Pitt, Dr. Bottoms, congratulations. And they have a shadow team almost ×2 back there. Ensenada, Aria, and Jorge, and Hawa, and Kennedy, congratulations to you. And a nice round of applause for the Robert Goddard team. Nathan and Mason and Braden. You know, today was a tough day for you. Poor Mason over there, he cares a lot. And you know, it's okay to shed some tears here because it means a lot, and but it doesn't take away from the wonderful school that they are. Their wonderful coach back there, Miss Jellison and Miss Womack, their principals here today as well. And Ella, nice to have you back here as well. And you're going to give Mason a little pat on the back for us, all right? Okay, and thank you all for being here. See you in the next semifinal game. I'm Dave Zarin. Until then, bye-bye.